Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. Julian here for another exciting and important episode. This one is the late round draft steals. In this video, I'll be going over some players that are going really deep in drafts that are really good value. So if you're in a 10-person league, which is pretty common, these players are going in the 14th round or later, which means an ADP of 140 or later. Before I jump right into the list, guys, drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And guys, if you do want to join the Fantasy Tipped Members League, this might be your last call to do so. There's just a couple spots left. And basically what it is you get to play in a Fantasy Tip League against myself and Max the entire season and see if you can beat us. To join, you have to join my Patreon, link down in the description below. When you do, DM me and I'll add you straight to the league. The winner will get some nice Fantasy Tip merch delivered to you wherever you are in the world. If you do join my Patreon, you do get plenty of other perks, like being able to DM with me, ask me any questions you want, early access videos, as well as my full draft rankings. Definitely a great time to become a Patreon. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. And our first late round draft steal is Vincent Trocheck of the New York Rangers, currently going at an ADP of 142.0, which is kind of crazy. He's only 46% rostered, which is kind of blowing my mind. He is literally always a top tier fantasy player in most league formats. Like I said, he's being drafted at 142, but I have him in my top 50 players. I like Trocheck a lot. And if you are in a league that counts peripherals, he shoots and he hits quite a bit too to add to that floor. And the Rangers are probably going to have a better season this year. It is a great year to be drafting Vincent Trocheck. There are so many centers that are sleepers this year. My next late round draft steal is Matthew Barzal, currently going an ADP of 145.9. And if I have the choice between Trocheck and Barzal, Trocheck probably is going to do better, but I'd probably pick Barzal just because he also has that right wing designation and you can grab natural center a little bit later in the draft. Now, the only reason Matthew Barzal wasn't in my top 75 forwards video was because of injury proneness. But his injury history is honestly not that bad. But the fact that he's going so late in drafts and is undrafted in almost 60% of leagues, that absolutely blows my mind. It's a guy that has top 50 upside if he plays to his best, and he's going to be getting plenty of top line and top power play deployment. He is the best player on the Islanders. The next late round steal is Alex Tuch of the Buffalo Sabres, going at an ADP of 147.5, and he is a right winger, 81% rostered, so he is being drafted in most leagues, but he's being drafted late. This is a guy that should be glued to the top power play and the top six the entire season. He actually scored 35 goals last year, which a lot of people don't realize. He was that good. And yeah, he's probably not going to score 35 goals again because that shooting percentage was a little bit inflated, but I'm for sure expecting 25 to 30 goals this year for Alex Tuch. The next guy is Evander Kane of the Vancouver Canucks now. He was traded to Vancouver, so don't be fooled by the Edmonton jersey there. He's not in Edmonton anymore. I know he just turned 34 years old. Now, 34 is a little bit old for a hockey player, but it's not that old. So he could still have some real fantasy impact this season. He has the ability of being a top 75 player when he's healthy, especially if you're in a bangers league. This is a guy who shoots the puck a lot and hits a lot as well. The problem here is the injury history. Fingers crossed that he stays healthy the full year this year, because if he does, there's a real chance that Vancouver puts him on their top power play and he should play in the top six. So he could actually have quite a bit of value. It remains to be seen if he gets top power play time. We're going to have to wait to see till training camp. But if he does, Evander Kane could be a real steal, and he's only being drafted in 21% of leagues right now. Next is everyone's favorite Italian-Norwegian, Mats Zuccarello. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you guys probably know that I absolutely love Mats Zuccarello. He should be locked on to line one and power play one once again with Kaprizov, who he's always had great chemistry with. Now, If you're concerned about his age, I get it. He just turned 38 this month. But last year, he did still manage to score 54 points in 69 games, with Kaprizov injured literally half the season. If he was being drafted early at all, I'd probably avoid him. But he literally doesn't have an ADP right now, and he's being ignored in 4/5 of leagues. Yes, you heard that right. He's only owned in 20% of leagues, and he has line 1, power play 1 upside. Come on, I'll take that any day, and he's a right winger too. The next guy on this list is Sean Monahan of the Columbus Blue Jackets, currently going an ADP of 185, so like last round of like most drafts, and is only 20% rostered. Yeah, he's a tad injury prone, but come on. He was over a point per game last year with 57 points in 54 games, and he should continue to get top line and top power play deployment in Columbus, and Columbus is a lot better than they used to be. If you waited to take natural centers in your draft, you will be rewarded by being able to draft Monahan later in your draft in a very, very late round. I like him a lot this year. Next, I have Kent Johnson, another Columbus Blue Jacket, and he's only 17% rostered with no ADP. Last year, had 57 points in 68 games, and likely gets top line and top power play deployment with Adam Fantilli, who I'm also expecting to have an incredible season. You can call that the top line, the second line, doesn't really matter. Sign me up for that. I'm super, super high on Fantilli and Johnston this season. And the great thing about Johnson is he has triple eligibility, which is so good for your lineup flexibility. Johnson is going to have a monster year this year. The next guy is Tyler Seguin, only owned in 15% of leagues, has that center right wing eligibility, which is good. And yes, he's another injury-prone player. But as late as you're getting him, there's virtually no risk. And he's not that old either. People might think he's old, but no, he's only 33, so he's still got plenty left to give. And last year, he actually scored 21 points in the 20 games that he did play. And I know that's a small sample size, so I don't think he'll be over a point per game this season, but he could still be very, very productive on his projected line with Duchesne and Wyatt Johnston. The next guy on this list is Sam Rinzel, only being drafted in 13% of leagues, going at an ADP of 181. And this is a guy who is basically a power play 1 lock in Chicago, and you're getting him this late in the draft? Sign me right up for that. Obviously, Chicago sucks, but last year he did manage to get 5 points in 9 games, which is a great start to his career. He is a rookie this year, but Chicago should give him every chance to succeed, being on that top power play. For such a late pick, if you need a defenseman with high upside, Rinzel is not a bad option. Next is Josh Norris of the Buffalo Sabres, and he was traded for Dylan Cousins last year. And basically, for him to be worth drafting, he needs to put his injury woes behind him. If he can stay healthy, he could easily be a top 75 fantasy forward this year. And again, he has no ADP at all and is only 12% rostered. That kind of upside is really, really good. And if you're looking for a natural center late in the draft, because you didn't draft any early, this is an excellent option. Then I have Ryan Donato, and this is a guy who finally broke out last year at age 28 and scored 31 goals and 62 points. While I'm not expecting 30 goals again, 20 at the very least is definitely possible, and I think up to 55 points is also possible. Now, it's not like Chicago is full of amazing players to take his ice time. He should get great deployment on PP1 and probably top line with Connor Bedard, and he's being ignored in 89% of leagues, which is pretty insane in my opinion, considering he also has triple eligibility, which is just so valuable for lineup flexibility. And honestly, getting him as late as you are, if you draft him and he sucks this year, you drop him. Big deal. You probably picked him with the last pick of your draft. And if he's a stud like last year again, well, guess what? You got a great kid with triple eligibility that can basically slot in anywhere. Next, I have Jimmy Snuggerud of the St. Louis Blues, who is a right winger and is a rookie this year. I did talk about him a little bit in my rookies video, but he's being ignored in 91% of leagues, which is absolutely crazy. Last year in 7 games, he scored a goal, added 3 assists, and had 10 shots on goal, which was such a great start to his NHL career. And then in the playoffs, he had another 2 goals and 2 assists in 7 games. He should basically get immediate access to the top power play in St. Louis and the top 6. I think he's got a real shot to win the Calder this year. People are really sleeping on Snuggerud, but I'm personally probably going to place a bet on Snuggerud to win the Calder Trophy because his odds aren't as good as they should be, and I think he's going to have a massive, massive year. My next draft steal is Tony DeAngelo, who for some reason is being ignored in 94% of leagues. He wasn't bad last year in a return to the NHL. Now, it is widely believed that Schaefer won't make the NHL right away. For those of you who don't know who Schaefer is, he was the number 1 draft pick this year by the Islanders. If Schaefer doesn't make the team, it's pretty much a guarantee that DeAngelo will continue to operate as the New York Islanders' top power play guy. As long as he's there, he's a top 50 defenseman. And this late in your draft, he's not being drafted in 94% of leagues. You cannot go wrong with that. Obviously, if Schaefer makes the team, there's a chance that Schaefer gets that top power play time, but I don't think that's going to happen. And as long as DeAngelo is on the top power play, he has fantasy value. Then Ville Koivunen. He's somebody that I also talked about in my top 10 rookies video. In the 8 games that he played last year, he scored 7 assists. He was glued to the power play 1 with Crosby, Rakell, and Rust, and also played a good amount of time on the top line with Crosby and Rust. Keep an eye on training camp because that deployment is absolutely mouthwatering. He should get power play 1 no matter what, but if he gets top line with Crosby, he's being ignored in 98% of leagues and is a kid who's already scored 7 points in 8 games. Obviously, I don't think he's going to keep up that point per game pace, but it could be a real steal this late in the draft. And finally, John Klingberg of the San Jose Sharks. This is for insanely deep leagues. If Sam Dickinson doesn't make the team in San Jose, I think Klingberg is pretty much a lock to be on the power play 1. And he has excelled in a power play 1 spot in the past and did look pretty good in the playoffs in Edmonton last year. If he can put his injury days behind him, it's possible he gets a respectable amount of power play points on San Jose's top unit. I would avoid him though if Sam Dickinson makes the team, because if he does, there's a good chance that Dickinson will end up getting the top power play deployment. And I would just draft Dickinson instead because he's going pretty late also. I'm not really high on Klingberg at all, but if you're in a league that's so deep that you're looking for a defenseman just that late in the draft that's 1% rostered, well, at least he has some upside. And that's it for this video, guys. Did you enjoy my selections today? Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think there's somebody else that might be a real great deep round steal. I'd love to hear all of your thoughts. Until next time, guys, I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.